Welcome back here. Today we're going to be working on the Cougar again. I've been so busy with harvest, just hauling grain, all that stuff. Let me know if you guys want to see some of those videos. I could probably make a few videos, although it gets pretty busy and chaotic here at this time of the year. So I don't know when this video is going to be posted, but we're going to do a lot of things with brakes here on the car. I don't know if I'm going to divide this up into a few different videos, but it needs new brake lines, a new booster, a new brake master. You know, it needs new shoes, it needs new drums, it needs everything, and wheel cylinders, all that jazz, everything to make it stop. This is a 1967 Mercury Cougar, and it actually has 4 drum brakes, front and rear drums, which is surprising because this thing originally had a 390 FE, which, back in the day, those things made a decent amount of horsepower. So I'm surprised it still had the 4 drums. But again, it at least has the vacuum booster. So I will be sticking with the 4 drums just because if you go to rotors, way more money. I'm doing this on a budget. I just want to get it driving well, have it stop nice. I'm going to be putting a roller block 351 in this at some point here this winter too, I'm guessing. So we have a lot to do on this. The first things, these front drums have the studs actually pressed into the drum. We're going to take these drums and get rid of all the rust. We're going to reuse the front drums. Obviously, we're going to put new shoes on them, and we're going to put new bearings in them. I'm going to do that. But the backs, they will be getting new drums themselves. So let's get into it. First, I'm going to start spraying probably some of this rust cutter. It actually turns the rust, scientifically, I don't know, it turns the rust into its non-rust stage. Something with phosphorus, I don't know. But it works well, it gets rid of the rust. I'm going to spray these front drums down because the back ones, well, we're just going to chuck them in the trailer, the scrap trailer, haul them off to the junkyard. So, yeah, you can probably see in the camera, a lot of packages over there. I got a lot to work on with this car, so let's get into it. I realize I just completely forgot my DeWalt angle grinder at the other farm. There's a Makito on here, but I don't got the, whatchamacallit, the Twizzler, you know what I mean? What am I thinking of? You know what I'm thinking? The brush, or the wire wheel, I couldn't think of the name, for the love of God. I was sitting here, no joke, for like a minute. It's just, the camera's rolling, just, what is it called? Anyways, I'm going to have to use the die grinder here. Only reason I don't like this as much is because the air compressor isn't super big. So I'm going to knock off the rust on the outside first, and then we'll work on the inside. Once we're done with that, we'll blow it off a little bit and spray this rust cutter on there. Oh, I forgot. Safety first. Huh. Looking in the camera, I see the sides of my hair are kind of like flipping out. I have to get a haircut soon. I'm betting half this video I'm going to have long hair, the other half it'll be short. Got to go to the barber, we'll see. Throw this mask on here so I don't breathe in that rust. Well, the tools are now acquired. Angle grinder, DeWalt, naturally. The wire cup, brush, twisted, and another twisted wire wheel. These are really just the best tool, especially living here in the Rust Belt. Well, is it the Rust Belt or is it like the rust, like suspenders? I don't know. What would Minnesota be? Is it really the Rust Belt? I feel like that's Michigan. But anyways, rusty places around here, rusty vehicles because of all the salt in the roads. So yeah, these are really just the best tool to have in the northern states. And what's nice about these twisted ones too is they last way longer and you get less. Like I was using that die grinder, all those little brushes they're not really twisted, they're just kind of like frayed. They go flying in. I mean, I don't know how they get in the places they do, but trust me, those get everywhere. These, not as much, but those, they'll be in some places you would not expect later on. So I'm gonna get to this, gotta clean up this, probably do a little time lapse, and then we'll, spray some of that like acid on it. Really, I mean, it can be any type of like acid that converts the rust to its original metal. That'll work the best. And then we'll eventually paint it here. That'll come a little bit later. So how funny, apparently I wasn't even recording, I guess. But I sprayed the rust cutter in the inside where the bearings are too, and on the outside. It's all sprayed up. We'll see what it looks like tomorrow morning. I'm guessing it's going to be nowhere near dry. Sometimes this stuff takes like 3 days to dry, which is kind of a downside. But it should take care of all this rust, and I still got the other one to do, but it's late tonight, so I'm going to head in. I'll see you tomorrow at some point. Well, it's the next day here, and I really got this drum ground down. Got a lot of the rust off. I'm going to go hit it with the rust cutter here. I don't know if you hear the fan in the background, but it's getting cold here in Minnesota. It's early November. I had to start the shop stove. So I'm going to spray this down lightly. And I'll show you the other one too. It's looking pretty good. Spray inside here too. A little rusty in there. These are the original Ford drums, Homo Co. They're in pretty good condition too. I'm guessing that car had 121,000 on it, I believe, because the meter, what do you call it? The odometer. There you go. Yeah, the odometer shows, is it 19 or 20,000? So I'm guessing it's 119. Spray these all up. I'll go show you that other one. It's sat overnight. It's probably been good 12 hours now since I sprayed that one. So here's this other one. Like I said, it's been about 12 hours or so. I'm guessing it's going to need another 36, 2 days total probably to completely dry. But you can see how it's kind of turning from the rust to that white color. Once it's totally dry, or that white, there's pretty much no rust left. So yeah, I'm gonna let it sit here. Bring that other one over here on this pallet too. And then I don't know what I'm gonna do next. I might start disassembling all these little parts for the drums, the front and the rear. I might, I'll probably take all that stuff off. That way I can get in there, wire wheel it, spray it, remove the rust, and paint the insides of the drum itself, So I'll probably do that next. We'll see. All right, so I even did the little grease caps. We got both of the drums all, converted from the rust. It doesn't really look like there's much rust on here anymore, so that's, that's what we want. I'm going to spray this with some diluted industrial degreaser just to get this sticky stuff off. So we're going to try and clean this up, get that sticky stuff off. Then I'm going to hit it with an abrasive pad or some sandpaper. We'll paint this, and then we'll get the bearings in. I would put the bearings in first and then just tape around them or something. Might even hit it with the air hose here quick, just to get some of those ribbed parts dry. Sorry about that. Apparently my mic was off. No idea. Um, got most of that sticky substance off, that rust cutter. I'm gonna go hit these with the abrasive pad. This is about 150 grit. That'll be good enough. Is it raining outside? Nope. All right. It's been real drizzly here, early November in Minnesota. Shine these up. Try and get those little, like, there's kind of these black specks that acid makes, taking off the rust. Get that off there. Make it look a little nicer. Nothing better than sanding. This isn't that bad, actually. I prefer this over, like, sanding a car or, you know, hand sanding. Trying to get something flat. Terrible. I'm going to sand this whole drum down with this 150 grit. And inside here, I'll show you on the actual contact point itself of the pads, inside the drum there on that metal, I'm probably going to hit it with 220 and then a 320 abrasive pad too. I might just hit it with that 320 abrasive pad so it's not so aggressive, to try and smooth that out and get a little bit of this light surface rust on here. There's a little bit actually. I'll show you. If you look down in here, you know, there's some surface rust on there. And this is, of course, where your pads slide up against on the drum. I think I called it a rotor earlier on accident. But yeah, did I say pads now? What am I thinking of? Too busy with disc brakes. Your shoes slide up against here, right? And that's what actually stops the car. So if you look there, it's just not the smoothest. That could be smoothed out. I probably will even hit it with 220 and then 320. And I suppose I could go finer than that too if I wanted to. But I'll do that to this whole drum, see how it looks. Then we'll get to painting it and try to avoid putting paint inside where I'm going to put the races and everything. The reason I'm not doing the races first is because I'm probably going to throw them in the freezer just to make them a little bit easier to install. But here's what that rust cutter does. You can see, yeah, there's some rust there. And if I would have let this dry completely, it would have been even better. You can see it kind of turns it back to its non-rusted state. It's white. That means it's dry. So here, when I took it off with the degreaser, this wasn't quite dry here. But that'll be fine, whatever. I have an assortment of paints. I'm kind of missing my black paint and my primer, which is two very important things here. So I have to use some other like generic black paint instead of the stuff that I like. And then for a primer, I'm gonna have to do self-etching because I'm out of my regular stuff. And then I'll also put on a really cheap primer, just a regular cheap primer after that I got in a color matching kit, spray paint, you know, one of those cheap things. So that's what I'll do for primer. But yeah, I do have some black. You know, town's 30 minutes from here. What am I gonna do? I suppose I could drive the 30 minutes, but you see that there? Yeah, that's a Ford. So, you know, 10 miles to the gallon on that pig. Man, look at that. Isn't that beautiful, beautiful rims? Nice white rims. You can see some blue pinstriping there. Yeah. You can actually watch that video. Put it right up here. Did a couple things to this truck. Put a new exhaust on it. That was fun. Not really. First time putting an exhaust on a vehicle. So I'll need it because I'm gonna have to put one on this thing eventually when I get the 351 in it. But back to this. I gotta sand it. Then we'll get to painting it. All right. Well, you've probably been seeing me work on one thing specifically, really long here. That's with my utility knife. I'm gonna bring you up close and show you my problem. So after I sprayed that rust converter, oh, sorry, I'll get my hand out of the shot.
what ended up happening was all of that acid just sat here on this rib, if you see. It's less here because I took it off with my knife. Actually, there's some there still, but I have to take that off if I want the paint to stick on this metal for a long time. So I'm just going like this. I don't know how well you can see that, but I'm just slowly scraping that off. You could like nearly get it with your fingernail, maybe, well, maybe a little bit, but this works the best. It's just taking a long time. I hope the other one isn't like that. I'm guessing when I had these drying, I had them placed, okay, the other one will be like that. So I had them placed like they are now. I didn't have them upside down. If I had them upside down, I would not be in this problem because the rust cutter would run that way. And if it ran that way, it wouldn't be caught on this ledge here. So I'm trying to get most of that off, and I hit it with the abrasive. Very slow process, but probably worthwhile. You can see the drum is chipped here a little bit on the edges, but other than that, the drum's in really good condition. So I'll be here for hours. So yeah, I'll see you when we get to painting these. Alrighty, pitter patter, let's get at her. Here now, I already hit the outside with a little bit of paint. Some of that, I don't know, it's just that cheap, what does Rust-Oleum call it? It's like rust converter black, whatever. You can't paint over rust and have it disappear. So, we're gonna tape this up, this contact point for the brake shoe. Don't want any paint on there. Yeah, just taping away, you know. Oh, we're out of this. I'll probably hit the inside of this with some cheap primer first, and then we'll spray it down with black later. You know, you really wouldn't believe it, but my mic wasn't working, so you could barely hear me. I did record some of this. But I taped all this up inside here, and I threw some self-etching primer on it. Not that this is really needing of self-etching primer. This isn't really completely bare metal. Whatever, it doesn't matter. It's what I had. It's better than nothing. So I'm gonna let that dry. Now I'm gonna throw on some of this Krylon Fusion all-in-one. 5 times stronger adhesion. Right. No peel guarantee, matte black, sure thing. So normally I just get one of those big cans. It's like up to here, I don't know the ounces, whatever, of Rust-Oleum black for little projects like this because it's not perfect paint, but it works for stuff like this. I used it quite a lot. So while this primer tacks up a little bit, like I said, I did hit this with some Rust-Oleum rust converter black on the bottom, but I'm gonna hit it with this now too. At least everything I can reach. And I should probably put my mask on. Knocking over cans, perfect. Yep. All right. Whew. That's a good coat. I'm gonna let it dry a little bit. Do the inside once that primer's tacked up, and then once the inside is dry with the black paint, I'll flip it over and I'll do the face of it too. But I'm gonna go work on the other rotor. Why do I keep saying rotor? I'm pretty sure I do. The other drum. I'm gonna work on that while this tacks up a little bit. I'll see you then. All right, primer's tacked up a little bit. I'm gonna throw some paint on here. Again, it's kind of hard to get in this crevice. There's a little ridge inside of here. I'll make sure I want to get that. Nothing more satisfying than taking something rusty and just making it a nice black. Tell ya. Sure does make things look nice. And again, I better put my mask on.
All right, let this dry, take the tape off, flip it over, then I'm just gonna paint the front a little bit, and we're gonna call her good there. All right, well, the guys got these painted up real nice. I'm actually really impressed. This, what is it? That Krylon or whatever it is, 5x matte black adhesion. Worked well. Very well, actually. So, I'm gonna open this fresh new can of grease here. We gotta throw the bearings in. I did throw them in the freezer to make them hopefully a little bit easier to install. We'll see if that did the trick or not. I didn't pack them yet. I'm just gonna throw the race in here on the outside. I have some fairly clean gloves. I'm gonna lightly coat the outside. Way too much. Perfect. Yeah, that's a lot. Okay, this is really getting out of hand. Well, I'm gonna maybe put a tiny bit inside here. Help lube everything up. Now I got my little installer. I'm gonna lightly try and tap this in. Evenly is the idea. Oh yeah. Freezing it really works well, assuming you have the right bearings and races. I've made that mistake. Okay, that's, you know, pretty good, pretty good. And I should be able to hear it, you might too, once I get all the way in. Thing's coming a little on loose here. There we go. You hear that change in sound? That's how you know you're in all the way. I'm gonna go kind of do a visual. Looks all right. Pretty in there flat. I'm just gonna tap a tiny bit more. Yep, she's good. Now, I'm not even going to worry about this bearing that fits in here, because this bearing, yes, I still have to pack it, but it goes on the outside of the hub here. So if I put it in, what's going to hold it in? I could put the grease cap over this, and that would hold the bearing in, but then I just have to take it off when I go to put the car back together. So I'm not going to do that. Just going to leave it off. Flip the other side here. Yeah, who would know that paint worked so well? I mean, I did prime it and rough it up, so, I mean, as long as you do the right steps, any paint should be good paint. Well, not exactly, but there's different types of paint. Set this in there real unevenly. All right, yeah. Oh, yeah, and the reason this is so hammered out is because I'm using a hammer on the end of it, you know, an actual metal heavy hitting one. Oh, no, this is too small. This is almost like the bearing. So I suppose if we want to continue the legacy of this amazing Harbor Freight tool, I should go get a dead blow. Maybe I'll do that just for you. All right, now that we're professional about things around here, I can go ahead and install this. This hammer is nasty, by the way. Wow. Yeah. What did you see how I put this on? What am I thinking, man? You gotta watch me. Tell me what I'm doing here. Jesus. There. That's how you install a race. Okay. I was wondering, well, I guess it wouldn't make a difference, but it felt like the bolt wasn't turning on nice. Perhaps. I don't know. Okay, let's do this. Again, we're doing our best to throw this in there evenly. You know, right about now, I could really use a hard-hitting hammer instead of this thing. Tell you what. Oh, it's going now. Or is it? I don't know. Okay, well. What in the world? I mean, this should go down a lot more. Should have kept it in the freezer longer. All right, it's time for the big guns. Everything's nice in there as far as the surface, or like the mating surface or whatever. I know this isn't ideal. It's not quite the right size to install this, but it should work. There we go. This race the old one, was really hard to take out too. So it going in hard makes sense, maybe, under theory. Still got a little bit. You can see the ledge where it sits on. Oh no, I'm getting the hair itch with greasy gloves. Not great. I think we're all the way there now. I'm gonna get a small pick, kind of feel around in there, see if the ledge is all the way down. It's hard to see. Oh yeah, there's still a gap there. Yep, we need to go more. No, all the way around? Not quite. Just on that side. Okay. This thing's really taking a beating. I'm pretty sure we're good now. Pretty sure. Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good there. Oh, that's the open spot, right? Okay, good there. Good there. And we're good there and there. Perfect. Let me check the other side with this pick too. Man, all right. Pack the bearings on the inside, and then I gotta install that seal too, as gently as I can. Bonk! So, see what we can do here. Take a big clobber in my hand. Oh, I should have put it in my fist, not my middle finger. Well, you live, you learn. And we're gonna start down and kind of work this into, these gloves are a little oversized. These are extra large, I need large. So it'd be best if you didn't even have gloves, really. But you just slowly press it in through the bearing. I'm sure everyone's done this, well, most people. Some people, I should say. You can buy tools too. Should really invest in one. Probably be pretty handy. All right, I'll see you when I'm done. All right, I got that bearing all packed and I dropped it in there. I got the little seal here, a little bit lubed up. I think I'm just gonna lightly tap it in there if I can. I might actually need the installer here. Now, this technically isn't a seal installer, but this will work. Try and get it even first. That's good enough. Throw this over it and gently tap, tap, tap it in. I see it sunk into the right more first. I'm gonna try and get the left in. Oh, now it's loose. This is the way she goes, all right? Gently tapping all around, and that might just do it even, to be honest. Just bang, 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 bang. Put that seal down in there. That's the key. Race installer backwards. No, it's a seal installer. Yeah, it's in there good. Perfect. All right. This one's done. I'm going to go ahead and do the other one, and then I'll probably start taking the actual brake linkages and the shoes and all that junk off of the car. Now, before we start getting the brakes all off and all that, replacing the booster, all types of stuff, I'm going to go ahead and take off the fenders, some of the front pieces, just really make everything wide and open, since we'll have to take this off eventually anyways, is I'll put the camera over there. This car, I'm guessing, was hit from over here, and it pushed the bumper and everything that way, and all of the related brackets. So that stuff has to come off and be replaced, or tried to be straightened out. I'll show you here. So if you're looking at the car from up here, you see that bracket for the bumper is about where it should be, and look at this one, way off. And it's actually cracked here and bent there, and it's off of the frame down there. And then this bracket's really bent that way, as well as this one. So I'm guessing it was hit like this or something. I don't know why this fender was replaced, but there's a big gouge in the door here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this little filler piece off, get the fenders off, these front pieces, and then we'll see what we can do. I'll probably start taking that vacuum booster and all that junk out of there, or I'll start taking the brakes apart first. We'll see. We'll see what I can do in here. I think there's 3 or 4 bolts that hold on this piece here. I forget what it's called, but I don't know if it's necessary to take it off if I'm just going to be taking this whole fender off. We'll see, but I think I will. Just need a lot of extensions in there. I would throw my impact on, but this car's pretty rusty. I'm going to get one more extension. Got my handy gear wrench here. 3/8 drive, 92th ratchet. This thing is very reliable. And I've put a lot of weight on this, so I think one more. You know, it's way up here, and there's not too much room in there to swing a ratchet. All right. Well, it'd help if we went the right way. Yeah. Seems like it's spinning loose just by hand, but maybe not. I can't now. So one thing that is nice about these old cars, American cars, standard sockets, standard bolts, nuts everywhere you go. There's no guessing on metric. Don't tell anyone, but this is not impact rated. None of these are the socket, the extensions, the adapters. Well, get on. There we go. This is a new impact, so it's still a little bit hard to get these sockets on. I guess it didn't really matter if they were impact rated. Those are on so loose, these fillers, these corner fillers, and I believe that's because if you tighten them, there's a stud coming through, and if you tighten the nut too much, it'll actually pull the metal through and leave you a dent. Should be pretty loose already. Yeah, I see it wiggling around. Once I get this last one, I think I'm just going to try and turn it by hand, and it might just drop out. If I can turn it by hand, I can try, maybe, to catch it. The studs actually might catch it themselves, to be honest. Oh man. Back we go. I think it's loose. I don't know where the nut went. Yep, there we go. Here's the nut. So note to self, the studs will not catch it if you don't have your hand there. So, and it looks like, yeah, no, we did not need to take this off. I actually did either way because this piece needs to be replaced. As you can see, it's chipped out here. But yeah, we did not need to replace it, or we did not need to take it off to get the fender off, is what I'm saying here. So, yeah, I think I'll pull this trim off, even though it's kind of beat. I can reuse this for now until I upgrade. Looks like just one little Phillips screw there. All right. I'm going to go ahead and get a whole bunch of these bolts off and see if we can pull a fender off here. Surprise attack. My truck is really leaking on the head gasket side of things. You know, I was wondering why it was smoking so bad after you shut it off. This would explain it. It's not leaking. It's hot right now, but it's not leaking too bad. I just drove it down the gravel road, probably a few miles. I'm going to try that, you know, the dump stuff, the Fix-O-Matic sealer, gasket sealer. See what that does. I'll have to run to town, throw this in tomorrow, and see if that fixes this. But this leaks, you know, a lot of coolant. Well, fender's off. Look at this. It's not bad in here. I spent a lot of time scraping away at that undercoating. I still got some, like, you know, down here, down there. I don't like that. You can see some rust that it was hiding. As you know, there's some seam sealer and stuff along here and big gloops. But I got it scraped out. Looking pretty good for rust on this side. I believe the other side is more rotted. There's actually parts, I think, that are rotted through in some areas. But this side's done, looking fresh. Now time to buzz all the bolts off for this side. It's not bad taking these fenders off. It's just the bolts right up in here that you really have to reach for. But other than that, it's not too bad. So I'm going to get to that quick. Well, time to buzz these. Or maybe not. I was going to say, time to buzz these bolts out. These are the easy ones. You know, 1, 2, there's a few here, right on top of the fender. There's only one holding it on, so that's fun. I'm actually going to leave that one because that'll help me hold everything together later when I'm taking stuff apart. Even though it is a tight friction fit, it wouldn't necessarily fall out on you when you take the last bolt out, but I'll leave that one in there just to be safe. So yeah, these were going to be the easy ones that I'd buzz out real quick. Guess I'm not going to do that. There's some ones, you know, it's kind of tough to get inside here. There's 4 bolts right behind this hidden headlight eyelid and all this junk. I guess there's only 3 for this side for some reason. I don't know why, but we'll take it. So, yeah, not too bad. I should have this done in, you know, 1/10 of the time on camera than it actually takes because of the magic of time-elapse. So, start it now. Alrighty, this eyelid will not go up, or this garage door, whatever you want to call it. And that's because when this was in a wreck at some point, it was hit like this, or something along those lines. And this bracket on this side, that side's fine, but this side, the bracket is bent. So I'm lubing up all the bolts. I gotta take all these eyelid pieces off anyways, eventually, since I want to go through and paint everything up nice, get rid of the rust. I just need to figure out what I did with my ratchet. Not the one that I just put in my pocket, but the other ratchet. Let me know, do you see a 3/8 drive ratchet? Here we go. Yeah. Only a few bolts left holding this in.
this side at least. You know, I think I can actually slip my little impact driver in there. Yep. Oh, I'm stuck. There we go. Got it. Before you know it, I'll have this whole car torn apart. The hardest thing about tearing apart cars is not doing it. It's figuring out what do you do with all this junk. Well, not junk, but there's so much space at the end of it, you don't know where to put anything. Well, I need the little ratchet. There's hardly any room to swing something in there. Oh, find the right way. This is where one of those, well, I don't think it would even fit in this scenario, but those 90-degree ratchets. I still have all this undercoating to start scraping off on this side. We'll get to that soon. Okay. Takes a minute. You know, you're doing one thing, then you just keep, as you take more off of the car, if you're ever working on a junker project like this, you'll realize as you go along, the more you take off, the more problems you find. This whole thing should come out now, unless I'm missing something. Kind of comes out in a odd fashion. There. All right. Make sure you set it on its face, that way you really scratch up the chrome. You know, just some tech tips. Well, look at that. Beautiful. You know, nice and open. Do the same thing to the other side. Looks like a little Ford Falcon. Because that's pretty much what it is. If you didn't know, a lot of these, well, the first generation Mustangs, which this kind of shares that same unibody structure, is based off of the Ford Falcon. I'm sure there's a few parts changed, but the whole unibody and then part frame rail structure up here, it's pretty much the same thing. And then the Cougar, of course, was based off of the Mustang, at least those structural components. Obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but the Cougar's a little bit longer and, of course, has entirely different body panels and a front end and a rear end. But the car itself inside, that's pretty much the same. You know, Cougar gas tank is the same as a Mustang. So, I'm going to see if I can try and straighten anything out with this. Oh, yeah. See this ripple here? That's not supposed to be there. So, maybe I can do some ratchet straps, try and straighten this thing out a little bit to get the eyelids where they should be. Probably not. I don't know, we'll see. I could always buy a used one. That's just quite a bit of money though. So, we'll see what I can do here first before I wreck it completely. Real quick here, we're gonna go ahead and scrape some more of this undercoating off. My preferred tool of choice is actually a wood chisel and a flat blade screwdriver. I don't think a wire wheel would quite take that off effectively. Personally, that's what I think. So, I'm gonna go ahead and do that now. So as you can see, I got most of the undercoating off. If you look around here, there's still some around the, what do you call this? I don't know, would it be the control arm or, no, it wouldn't. Whatever, this piece with the ball joint, anyways, there's undercoating back here. I have to get this line out. This is actually the automatic transmission line part of it.
I didn't even know it was here. Apparently one line goes outside of the subframe and then wraps around underneath the car. I had no idea because I took out like 3 transmission coolant lines, I thought, or cooler lines. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I only took out 2 because normally there's only 3, right, on older cars. I haven't seen 4 really. So I need to find a coil spring retractor, like an internal one, because I believe for this, yes, you need a internal coil spring retractor. Unless, I don't know if you can take this piece off and then use an external one. Actually, you might be able to. I don't know, but I think internal would work the best. But I think technically if you took this off, I could use an external one too. So I have to take that out to get at more of this undercoating and get rid of all that. And then once I get that undercoating mostly gone, I got to take a wire wheel around here and really clean it up. And then I have a lot of welding, hammering, and stuff to do to make this straight. And what else do we got here? Eventually I'll be taking these brakes apart. I thought this first video would be mostly brakes. Turns out it was a lot of other stuff. I have no idea even if this is the end. I have no clue how many hours probably I have recorded, or however many minutes. But yeah, I do still have to take the brakes apart, but I figure, why would I take the brakes? I could take the brakes apart, but I would not want to make them all nice and pretty and put them back together with new parts if I'm just going to be chiseling away around here, wire wheeling, painting, because then your brakes get all dirty and grimy. Plus, I need to replace ball joints. What else does it look like? Oh, coil springs. I'm going to do a 1-inch coil spring drop. Not necessarily because I like the way that looks, but just because the rear springs are so saggy. When you put wheels on the car, it's up like this. It's insane. So a 1-inch drop in the front, and eventually I'll probably still need new springs in the back that bump it up a little bit. I actually prefer a tiny bit of rake, just me. And I have shocks too to throw in here. So we'll get to all that at some point. So fun fact, this hole right here, coming underneath the car and through the old, I don't know, whatever you want to call that, inner side well, it's not a fire, anyways, I don't know what I'm saying. But this is not a transmission cooler line, this is the fuel line. So, yeah, I was going to rip it out, and I'm like, well, it seems like it really goes far back there. It's, it should just be for the transmission. And then I put it down here, and then fuel comes out. So at first I thought it was a brake line for a second, but that didn't make sense, as it smelled like gasoline. So yeah, I do have the tank out. Can you see in that? Yep, you can see a big hole and some rust holes back there. I have the tank out of there. So yeah, I'm gonna take this line off, maybe all the way, we'll see, depends how lazy I am. And I think I'm gonna try to get this hood off myself. You can watch me struggle with that. So, I have my shovel, wooden handle, and wooden blocks placed very strategically. Now, theoretically, I take these 1/2-inch bolts out, beep, beep, boop, boop, zzz, 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 both sides. These two will keep the hood up. And a couple blocks in the back will keep it from sliding. So, let's get the impact. We are going to attempt this side first. Well, my impact doesn't fit there, naturally, of course. Top one done. These are very cheap bolts. Make sure to save them. Really want to put the car back together with some standard grade 5 bolts. Okay. Now, actually, I am going to put the bolt back in. That way I can take my block out and get my impact in the bottom bolt. I just had to move that wooden block, but gotta make sure the top bolt is in then. Okay. Man, so many buttons here on this DeWalt. Keep hitting the flashlight brightnesses and stuff. One thing I wish it had was a 1, 2, 3 speed setting. It has 4 different settings. It has I guess just a bolt setting, a screw setting, and then 1 and 2. So I don't know what that all means, to be honest, but I do like this. Very compact. So let's take this one out. Okay. Slide the block under. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. I want to go ahead, put the top bolt back in, and then I can take the bottom one out. Okay, take the block out. Bottom one is out. This looks like it's the original bolt, grade 8. Very nice. Now, the grand reveal, I guess you might call it. This is going to get interesting. I think I'm going to take this side off first, because this side I have this wooden handle here. That side I don't. So, see what happens. Uh-oh. Yeah, this doesn't seem great. I'm going to hold this up just in case. Okay, we're good. Huh. My math blockage worked out quite well. Can't lie. Make sure you want to keep those grade 5 bolts again. A little tech tip. Now, this one, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen here. I'm going to try to hold this up. Just let her go. Oh, what do you look at that? All right. We're too good. Yeah. Okay. Move these lights down. Bada bing, bada boom. Oh, yeah, now she's loose, that's for sure. Take my little shovel down. Take my wooden stick down. Put my DeWalt down. And, okay, this is sketchy now. Yep, this is, we're going to slowly try and bring her down. I'm very surprised those hinges haven't busted down and dropped this hood. That's a big surprise, right? Okay, uh-oh. Is that going to stay? Nope. I need to figure out where I'm going to put this hood because I like to have a pretty big open space in the shop here. Oh, yeah, yeah, that seems safe. Now you keep watch of this. I'm going to go find somewhere to put it. All right, I have assessed the work zone. I'm just going to go ahead and throw this over there on its side, whatever. I have no idea how heavy these hoods are. I will say my 89 F250 hood, that weighs a decent amount. That's pretty hard to handle with one person. I have done it. And like an OBS arrow nose, like 92 to 96 Ford hood, that is even lighter, and that I can handle. We'll see how this 1960s steel holds up. Obviously, this hood is much smaller, so I really don't know the best way to go about this. I think I'm just gonna try and lean her back on me. Oh, that's not bad. Okay, yeah, this is kind of the same weight
maybe even a little bit lighter than that OBS Ford truck's hood. If I could just see where I'm going. Nope. Can't see whatsoever. So light, it's almost like it's made of fiberglass. Oh, not quite. Well, isn't that a scene? Front end is really being transformed. Not into anything new, but it's being transformed out of anything to nothing. Which really is the idea here. So, I think that's going to do it for the video. I'm sure I got a lot of content here already. So, I wanted to get to brakes, but I just ran into, well, I got a little distracted. But when you think about it, you got to work top down. All of this comes before the brakes. I'll probably have to do some welding in here, all sorts of stuff before the brakes, paint it, straighten some stuff out, all before the brakes. So I really did want to get the brakes done, but it is what it is. I'm sure I'll be able to pull this out sometime pretty soon here, this booster and master cylinder. But that's going to do it. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you next time, because I'm pretty positive the next video will be on this. Likely with the front end still. Guessing we're going to be, straightening it, welding parts of it, cutting rod out, painting it, and then all the steps that it takes before you paint it. So, brakes might be another 2 videos. Who knows? Well, and that's just the front brakes. So, stay tuned. I'll have more coming, especially since I'm going to have Thanksgiving break coming up soon. And, Christmas. What am I thinking? How do you forget Christmas? So, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Like, subscribe, comment. I think only 15% of you guys are subscribed that watch. So, go hit that button. Helps me out, right? So, hope to see you next time.